Do you have things that you're believing for in your life that look absolutely impossible and you're going, God, please help me? I know last month I was believing for something, crying out to God, and He came through. This month it's something else I'm believing for, crying out to God. Well, you know, nobody ever goes from plateau to plateau to plateau. You know, I've heard somebody say that even when a shepherd is leading his sheep, he doesn't take them from mountaintop to mountaintop to mountaintop. In fact, he has to go through the valley to get to the other mountaintop, through the valley to get to the other mountaintop. But it's in the valley, it's in that hard time that we learn, that we grow, that we get closer to God, that we get strengthened on the inside, that prepares us to make it to the next mountaintop. And you may be in a valley right now, and it looks like, why is it always me? Why is it always me that's having to deal with this kind of stuff? Why is it always my marriage? Why is it always my finances? Or why am I the only one that's overweight? Whatever it is, you're in that valley. And I want you to know, Satan wants you to develop a victim mentality. He wants you to feel like everybody else seems to just go on with life. They're fine, and I'm always the one struggling with something. But you know, he's a liar, he's a deceiver, he's a tormentor, and that's what he wants you to do. He wants you to feel like a victim. You know, I asked this girl one time, it just looked like her marriage was perfect. And I said, you know, have you and your husband ever, been through some really hard times, and was it a struggle at any time? And she goes, no, you know, we've just determined to never let the sun go down on our wrath. I was like, that's really neat. Well, seriously, about 6 months later, she was going through such depression, feeling like quitting and just giving up on everything. Well, I wasn't rejoicing or anything like that. I'm not trying to say that. But I'm just saying that it appears that other people never have struggles or they don't go through what you're going through. But the truth is, we all go through that valley. We all go through those times where we're crying out to God, believing for something. And that's when Satan wants you to quit. He wants you to give up. Well, this month I'm going to be talking about getting your vision and your dreams on paper and not giving up no matter how impossible it looks. You know, at the first staff meeting that I had with our staff, I held up this bottle of Formula 409, and I said, do you realize it took this company 409 attempts to get the right formula? That's 409 times they didn't quit, they didn't give up, they didn't just say, forget it, we don't have what it takes to be an antibacterial cleaner, just give up on it. No, that's 409 times they stayed focused. We're going to get the formula. We're not going to quit. Well, I was telling our staff, we may mess up 408 times, but we're going to get the right formula. Well, think about people like that. Listen to this story. This is another person I read about who could have quit, could have been highly discouraged, but wouldn't. It says, in 31, he failed in business. In 32, he was defeated in the race for the House of Representatives. In 34, he failed again in business. In 36, he had a nervous breakdown. In 38, he lost another election. In 43, he lost a congressional race. In 46, he ran for office and lost. In 48, he ran for office and lost. In 55, he lost a Senate race. In 56, he was unsuccessful in his bid for the vice presidency. In 58, he lost another Senate race. In 60, he became the President of the United States of America. That man was Abraham Lincoln. Do you understand that? I mean, imagine what his family and his friends thought when he's making his little posters that say, vote for me. And they're thinking, give it up. You've been running for years and you haven't won anything. But he wouldn't lose sight of his vision. Well, listen to this. I heard about Walt Disney. Do you realize that Walt Disney filed bankruptcy 7 times? Can you imagine on the 4th time that he had to file for bankruptcy what people were saying? And he says, nope, I have a dream. I have a vision. I'm not giving up on it. They say he was an impossibility thinker. But imagine it. Maybe you filed bankruptcy twice and you feel like the biggest failure in the world and you think, okay, just forget it. I will never have this dream of owning my own business. I'll never have this dream to get out of debt. I'll never have this dream to have money in a savings account. Never lose sight of your dreams. You know, they said that there was a man who at 66 years old, he didn't want to live off of his Social Security check. So he had this great idea to sell his recipe and become, one of the best restaurants in the world. Well, he went door to door trying to sell his recipe. He went to 1,009 different doors trying to sell his recipe, and nobody bought it. On the 1,010th attempt, somebody bought the recipe, and that man was Colonel Sanders. Thank the Lord for KFC, because I love their chicken wraps. But think about that. Imagine on the 400th door you're knocking on to sell this recipe, and they're saying, sorry, don't want it. 700 doors, 900 doors. Okay, how many times have you gone for your dream? You've believed God for something, and it didn't happen, and you said, forget it, it's not going to happen. Was it 4 times? Was it 11 times? God is telling you, get your vision and stay focused on it. Don't give up on those dreams, those goals, those things that are on the inside of you. I did a series on where were you headed before the storm hit. And in that series, I talk about getting your petition, your vision, your goals on paper and staying focused on them until you see them come to pass. Because Satan doesn't want these things to happen in your life. He's the one who steals your vision. So my prayer for you this month is you get your vision back. Don't lose hope. Don't give up on those things that seem impossible. So join me next week as we continue this study. We're talking about your vision, your dreams, your goals, those things that you have maybe given up on. Maybe they look so far off in the future that it looks like it'll never come to pass. I want to stir those things up in you this month and get you to believe God again. Maybe years have gone by and you've truly just given up on the plan of God for your life. Those things on the inside, maybe you're believing for your marriage to be restored. You're believing to get out of debt. You're believing to lose weight. You're believing for God to heal your heart. Whatever it is, to start a business, to write a book, whatever those dreams are, I want you to get that vision back. And you may be saying, yeah, but you don't know how many mistakes I've made. Well, I completely understand, because I truly thought that the plan of God for my life was over because of so many mistakes I've made in my past. But I want you to know that God still loves you. He still has an awesome plan. He still wants you to pursue those dreams and those visions and those goals that are on the inside of you. Having a vision is vital to your life. If you don't have a vision, then you are just existing. You are just wandering through life, just going day to day. You have to have a vision. I've heard somebody say that there is no neutral with God. We're either going forward or we're going backward. And when you have a vision, that's what compels you to go forward. It's been said that a person with no vision will always return to their past. A person with no vision in every area of your life. If you don't have a vision for your finances, you'll go right back to your old ways of spending. If you don't have a vision for your weight, you'll go right back to your old weight. If you don't have a vision to whatever it is in your life, to see these dreams fulfilled, if you don't have it written on paper clearly in front of you, then you'll just go back to what's familiar. Well, Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision and make it plain on paper. I am so serious about this verse. I treat this seriously in every area of my life, because I've seen in my own life, when I have something clearly written on paper, I'm more likely to achieve that than if I don't have it written. So Habakkuk clearly says it. Write the vision, make it plain on paper. And then Proverbs 23:18 says, where there is no vision, the people perish. And perish simply means die. In other words, you're dying on the inside. You're not going anywhere. You're existing. You're surviving life when you don't have a vision. So you can see clearly from this that you have to have a vision. Well, I want you to know that Satan is out for your vision. He knows a person with no vision will always return to their past. He knows that. He knows that where there is no vision, you're going to die. You're going to die on the inside. So what is he after? Your vision, obviously. He wants to create so many obstacles in your life that make you feel like it's hopeless, You're helpless. It'll never come to pass. You've screwed up too bad. And that's his goal. That's his whole purpose, is to get your vision away from you. Well, listen to this story from 1 Samuel. It's about a guy named Nahash the Ammonite. And then he attacked one of the half-tribes of Israel called Jabesh Gilead. These names make me laugh. Can you imagine naming your kids Nahash and Jabesh? I'm sorry if you did. But anyway, they were going to attack Jabesh Gilead because Jabesh Gilead didn't go along with Israel on this certain thing in the book of Judges. So the king, Israel, they issued this decree to slaughter everyone in Jabesh Gilead. They said slaughter every man, every child, every animal, except for the young virgin women. We want you to bring them back to our camp. So that's what they did. They were attacked and they were leveled to the ground. Well, only a few of the escapees, a few of the men got away. Everybody else was killed. And then it says that they began to rebuild. Little by little, these guys who escaped and a few of the women, they began to rebuild. They began to repopulate. They began to get hope in God again and to find themselves again. And it says that they were on their way to restoration from a storm when Nahash attacked. Well, they knew they couldn't defeat the Ammonite army, not with this few people. So they just said, okay, let's just cut a covenant because we know we can't defeat you. We know we can't beat you. So we'll serve you. We'll do whatever you say. Well, Nahash, he said something that just disgusted me. He said, sure, we'll cut a covenant with you. We'll make an arrangement here. He looked at the men of Jabesh Gilead and he said, we will not slaughter you, but we demand that we put out the right eye of every man in Jabesh Gilead. We want to bore the right eye out of every man. Well, Saul, who had already been prophesied that he would be king, he heard about this, and he was furious over it. So he put together an army, and they slaughtered Nahash the Ammonite. All the Ammonites. They defeated him. Well, I didn't understand that when I heard that story. Why the right eye? Why would they say, okay, we'll cut a covenant, but we want to take out the right eye of every man? Well, Matthew Henry wrote in his commentary, he said, it was to disable them for battle. For in those days they fought with their shield in their left hands, which covered their left eye. But the right eye was the eye for battle. It was the eye for vision. He said they had to have the right eye in order to win. A soldier was disabled without the right eye. Now, doesn't that just make your skin crawl to think? He knew that all along because Nahash is a type of Satan. He knew that they were already defeated, they were already destroyed if he could take out their right eye, because that was the eye of vision. So the shield covered the left eye, and they needed that eye to survive. They needed that eye to fight, to win, to defeat the enemy. Well, Satan works the same way in our lives. He's after your vision. He's after your right eye. But you have to tell him, no matter what has happened in your past, no matter how many mistakes you've made, he is not going to take your vision. He's not going to take your dreams, your goals, those things that you've prayed about when nobody was around, those things that other people may have laughed at you because you had this vision. Don't let Satan take your vision. You know, I'm urging you this whole month to write your vision. Get your vision on paper. I mean, take the time it takes to just sit down and be quiet with God and just begin to write. Just write from your heart. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be the perfect plan of God for your life. Just write something. If it's to get out of debt, write how much debt it is. If it's to lose weight, write how much weight it is. If it's to see your marriage restored, write that. Write what restoration means to you. But get the vision on paper and tell Satan he's not having your vision, and then stand for it. Start reading it out loud every day. If you're determined to have your vision, then you'll commit to it daily. Keep it in front of you. You know, Habakkuk said, write the vision, make it plain on paper so you can see it when you're running. So that's my prayer for you today, that you will take this seriously and realize that Satan's after your vision, and don't let him have it. I'll talk to you next week on this study about writing your vision.